Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope you're all doing well. For those of you that are confused about two streams being up, one is broadcasting in landscape, so that's the one you'll probably see if you're on a laptop, and one is transmitting in portrait. So I'm guessing that's the one that you'll see if you're on a mobile. I don't know. It's just weird. This dual streaming thing is strange. I haven't done it for the last couple of live streams because I'm still not convinced it's useful. However, I'm giving it one more shot. So that's why it looks like there's two streams running at the same time. It's the same stream, just running in two different modes, if you will. All right, this is part 2 of a bad dog search. This is the one that I did 12 days ago. That was part 1. And the reason why I'm going back to look at these old videos is because the Chris Watts case has always been the gift that keeps on giving. And it's beautiful because we've got all the body cams, we've got everything. Weld County, once the case was over, literally released everything, every single piece of stuff that they had, they released. Not just the discovery, but everything, all the body cams, everything. Got it all. 50 odd gigabytes worth of an external hard drive I've got with all the stuff on. And when this channel was new, I would say the first 6 months of this channel, I went through literally everything that I had on the Chris Watts case. And the reason why I'm going back to this now, even though the case has long since closed, is because we've got all of this beautiful video. And because I talk so much about search dogs, it looks really bad in portrait mode. It really does. I can't change it though. The thing is, it's all set up for landscape mode, and I can't change it. It doesn't give me the option to change the formatting for portrait mode. So if you're watching in portrait mode, well, there's nothing I can do about it. If it looks bad, maybe switch over to the other stream and look at it in landscape mode. Who knows how this thing works. Yeah, so in part 1, which you're seeing on your screen right now, I did the house search. Now, I was going to go and do the basement search. So the house search, they did the ground floor, like the first floor, and then they did the upstairs, and then they went and did the basement. I was going to do the basement in a separate live stream, but I'm not going to do that. It's kind of boring. The only kind of point to note is that they use the cadaver dog really badly. But I've got loads of videos. If you go right the ways back to the first, 50 videos on this channel, I talked a lot about the basement search. So if you want to listen to my opinions on the basement search, you can just go back like 4 years and find the videos. There's some of my biggest ever viewed videos. Like if I look at my most popular videos, if I just show you my most popular videos right now, it's all Chris Watts. All Chris Watts. There you go. That's the basement one. Chris Watts was incredibly popular back in the day. Nicola Bully was popular back in the day. Lon Summerwell's video. Oh, a Lily and Jack video got into the most popular videos. Anyhow, what we're going to do in this video, in this live stream, is look at the neighborhood search, which is the most terrible of dog searches ever performed. The dog is beautiful. The dog is a black Labrador called Cody. The dog did his job. Who didn't do their job, though, was the handler, Jane. She completely ignored the dog. So going back, looking at these searches where we've got the search in action, the search actually taking place and viewed by, like, via a police officer's body cam, it gives us so much insight into what actually goes on. And we don't get this kind of information very often. The gift that keeps on giving, beautiful, weird description of this tragedy. It's an absolute tragedy. What is the gift that keeps on giving is the case itself, is the fact, like I've just explained, that Weld County released everything. So it is an absolute gift to the true crime community. It was all free. All I did was email Weld County Sheriff's Office and they sent me 50 gigabytes worth of information completely free. Where do you get that? Where do you get that in any other case? Like, without having to, like, pester and get things in piecemeal. Like, at the moment with the Delphi case, people are getting stuff piecemeal. People are struggling to get stuff that should now be in the public domain. So yes, absolutely, this case, the Chris Watts case, is the gift that it keeps on giving, because there's still useful things to look at. Still useful things to look at, to inform us. So yes, the death of Shanann and 3 children is a tragedy. But the case, the way the case was handled after Chris Watts pled out, is a gift. So I continue and always will consider it a gift that we got all of this information. So with all that said, I'm going to say a couple of hellos. I'm not going to stay on too long, because at 6 p.m, so in about 52 minutes, Cold Case Christmas episode 13 comes out over on my other channel, Michelle Walks. So I don't want to overlap my content, because that would be stupid. So I'm going to say a couple of hellos and then we're going to get straight into it. And what I'm going to be doing is reviewing this video that I did. Hold on, I'm going to take you a day ahead of this. No. We don't want to start yet. Why will it not let me? To the dog search. Why will it not let me look? Let me look. What is it doing? What is it doing? Why are you doing that to me? Hold on. I'm going to do this. All right. Right. Cool. Okay. So this is from March 26, 2021. It's still on the channel. So if you want to go and watch this without my commentary, then feel free. It's still on the channel. Chris Watts neighborhood dog search missed a vital clue. So the video itself is only short, 14.5 minutes. I'm going to review it. I like to watch my old videos occasionally. And it gives us some insight into how dog searches actually work. The reason why I've decided to do this is because we talk so much about dog searches on this channel across different cases. You know, in the last month alone, I've talked about the dog searches in relation to Lillian Jack Sullivan, to Summer Wells, and to Sebastian Rogers. And I don't think in any of those cases we're ever going to get a gift. We're never going to be able to see what those searches actually look like. All we get, at the very best, is perhaps, so at some point in the future, a searcher will come and talk to us about it. But that's it, that's all. So we're not going to get a gift in Summer Wells' case. We're not going to get a gift in Sebastian Rogers' case. We're not going to get a gift in Lillian Jack's case. So to have a look at a dog search in action from the perspective of the people who were on the ground at the time, an absolute gift. I can't hear. Did it get muted? Can everybody else hear? Can everybody else hear me? Let me know, because I don't want to be talking into a void. Can everybody hear me? Everyone else can hear. Well, it's just you. So just refresh your page or turn your volume up or something. I don't know. Alrighty, let's say a couple of hellos. All right, good afternoon, Angie, baby. Good afternoon, Beth, McKenna. You want the link to part 1? I can do that. Hold on a minute. The link to part 1 is here. Hold on. Oh. All right. So putting in the chat now is link to part 1, but it's on the channel from 12 days ago. So if you missed the link, then you can find it. If you want to go and watch part 1. Hello, Tina. Words. Hello. No, it's an old video. I've explained that. It's an old video, so it's not a new search. The Chris Watts case isn't reopening or anything like that. It's an old video. Just for us, our information. Hello, Ridden, maybe? I'm not sure. Hello, Pamela. Broken Goth Doll, CW, who is currently shoveling shit. Oh, is it doing that the same thing that it's been doing for ages, eating people's comments? Listen, it's my channel, and when I comment to people in the comment section, YouTube eats my comment. I don't know what it's been going on for a long time. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's trigger words or something, but you could say something so innocuous and YouTube just eats your comment. I don't know where they go. It's just bizarre. Hello, Sarah. Hello, babes. Glory. Scout. Pamela. Jennifer. Valerie. Babe. I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to try. Where's all the chat over on the mobile stream? Maybe I can see both because I'm watching this from StreamYard. I can see both. It's just so bizarre. I don't like this dual streaming. I don't think I'm going to do it again because it's just really confusing. Like 2 different streams watching the same content. It's just, I don't get it. Yeah, landscape is much better. I think I'm just going to do landscape from now on. All right, let's get into this so that we can finish by... Comics mostly disappear. Isn't it just strange? StreamYard never works well. It works okay for me. Sometimes it will glitch out and not put audio on a video, and then you've got to like go out and come in, and that's the main issue. Are the viewers split between 2 screens? No, the chat's all in one. I can just tell. It just gives a little icon for those who are watching on portrait mode, but it's all one chat. And then I can see both views. So I can tell that the portrait mode one looks really bad, but the landscape one looks normal. But again, nothing I can do. Nothing I can do about it. Hit like and subscribe, definitely. Especially the subscribe one, trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year. Don't think I'm going to do it. I've got 1,000 to go and less than 3 weeks left. So, all right, let's get into this. At the car and coming to do a whole lot of lying, isn't he? I'm going to take you a day ahead of this to the dog search. I've done videos about Cody the Labrador, Jane's dog. Can I up the speed like a little? 1.25. Will people cry if I up the speed a little? Who alerted in the cellar in the basement. But I want to take you out on the streets now because Cody was also trying to tell them something while he was out there. First of all, before we get to that, this is Chris's... Is that too fast for people on 1.25? Does that still sound slow to me? Yeah, the chat is split. Yeah, it's just odd. I don't like it. Please up the speed. Well, I have. It's on 1.25, but people ain't going to like it. But anyway, what I did in this video was go through the reason why I highlighted how bad this dog search was. So we're going to watch the whole video. So you get taken through some information from the discovery files before we go out on the actual search. .25 is good. Okay. All right. Trip report the police got from Anadarko, and this is for the 13th, just before Chris came home. So you can see here that he reached his home, but previous to that, he'd stopped for, as a stop duration, he stopped there for 4 minutes at or around 6507 Black Mesa Road. So let's take a look at a map. That's where Google Maps takes me. That's the address. Okay, so what's important here is we all saw Chris Watts turning up, right? You know, coming back from work, turning up all flustered. And actually, what the discovery files tell us is that he didn't go straight home. He did not go straight home. Now, where he stopped was nearby. So this is where Chris's house is, Saratoga Trail, down here. But instead of going home, he went up here to what was not quite a construction site. These were new houses, but there was still a lot of construction going on in the area. And Chris stopped on this street, Black Mesa Road, for 4 minutes. Why? Why? Could it be because there was a whole bunch of construction dumpsters right there? Maybe. So the trip report was what the cops got from Anadarko, the company that Chris worked for, because the work truck wasn't Chris's, it was Anadarko's truck. So they had to subpoena Anadarko to get the trip report and all the stuff to do with the truck. And when they did, what they found was this 4-minute stop before he actually went home. However, what we've got to remember is that trip report was only gathered via subpoena. So that would have come in after this dog search that we're going to see. So you've got to remember that we're looking at all of this with the benefit of hindsight. So when the dog search happened, like the dog search we're going to watch right now, that happened on the 14th of August. So for those who need a little bit of a refresher, Shanann's friend, Nicole, reported Shanann and the kids missing on the 13th of August, 2018. The cops came and did a welfare check, couldn't find Shanann and the kids in the house, called Chris. Chris came home, all panicked, completely lying. And then the day after, and said that he thought Shanann and the kids were going to a friend's house for a play date, but was very vague on that, because what actually happened was that he'd murdered them all. But he obviously couldn't tell the cops that yet. That came 2 days later when he confessed, or at least partially confessed. But on the 14th of August, so the day after Shanann and the kids were reported missing, they did the dog search. So the dog search happened before Anadarko was subpoenaed for the trip report and the stuff that came via those subpoenas for, you know, the information about the truck. So you've got to remember that.
This is Chris's house here. If I just move my thingy out of the way a minute. So this is Chris's house. This is Betty's. This is Nate's. Steeple Rock Drive and Clubhouse and Black Mesa Road is here. And that's the address that Google Maps takes me to. So now we're set to go to the 14th of August. I've dialed Cody down because he has quite a loud bark. So I've dialed him down, but I've increased the human voices. Not that the humans were good at all, but just so that we hear what the humans are saying and we can still hear Cody. But what's happening here is he goes a little bit berserk behind this. I think it's like a portable toilet or something, perhaps for the workmen working on the site there. So that's the situation. And Cody goes a little bit nuts. He's going mad, alerting, and he goes woof woof, and then he waits a space, and then he goes woof woof again, and then he leaves a space, and then he goes woof woof again. And people keep telling me in my comments that no, alert dogs, tracker dogs, trail dogs, they're not trained to bark, and they're trained to sit down. Or no, some trail dogs, some track dogs are trained to bark,
and some handlers let the dog decide what they want to do as an alert. So a very excitable dog like Cody, once he's on a scent, then he wants to bark. So that's his alert, and he has this very particular way of alerting. He goes woof woof space, woof woof space, woof woof space. And yes, of course, some dogs, especially dogs that are trained for explosives detection, electronics detection and stuff like that, drug detection, you don't really want them being really excited, especially bomb dogs, explosives dogs. You don't want them to be really excited and to be jumping around and barking. So those dogs are trained to be very calm when they find the scent that they're after. So they're usually trained to lie down. You know, once they come upon a scent that's, you know, that they've imprinted on, then they're trained to lie down. It's the safest thing for them to do. But a lot of handlers, especially where it's things like trailing, then having the dog bark when they alert is fine. And for things like person searches, like on mountainsides and things like that, the dog actually barking on an alert is positive. The reason why he goes mental at this like portable toilet is because they planted a scent for him. If you listen very, very, very closely, that becomes clear. I don't know whether it's on this video, I can't remember, but they planted a scent for him to find. And sometimes they will do that just to keep the dog interested and to prove that the dog has actually, you know, imprinted on the scent that they're meant to be finding. And Cody is searching for Bella and Cece's, the two little girls, scent. What happened before this, and you see this on the body cam related to the house search, you see them swabbing Bella and Cece's shoes, like the inside their shoes, and then Cody is given that scent. So he's already been given his scent. He already knows what he's out there to find. So they planted a scent in the portable toilet. So that's why he alerted there. But you'll see that all of these houses around here, it's all construction. So you've got a lot of dumpsters, like industrial-sized dumpsters. And surprise, surprise, that's where Chris stopped for 4 minutes. Unbeknownst to these people here, because like I said, all of that knowledge only came later once they'd subpoenaed Anadarko for Chris's trip report.
And this is an alert bark. This is not a natural bark. This is a trained woof woof space woof woof.
I don't know whether they trained him, honestly, to bark like that, or whether that's something that Cody just does. But it's very specific. Like if I was his handler, I would know the difference between Cody's alert bark and then just a regular bark, which tends to be like woof, 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 woof. You know, like dogs have different barks. When a dog goes woof, generally means like they're pissed off or like disdain, contempt. When they go, woo, that's an alarm bark. Anyway, but woof, 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 woof is very specific.
Right. Can we be clear on that? Jane gets a phone call.
My dad wants to talk to you.
So she says, my dad wants to talk to you. So this is Jeff's daughter. So Jeff is phoning Jane.
So Jeff is the guy with the cadaver dog. And this is Jeff's daughter. She's just part of the team.
So Jane goes off. They get tangled up in the leash. So Jane goes and takes the call. All the while, Cody has been barking and he's been waiting for Jane. He's been alerting to Jane because she's his human and he's trying to tell her something. Okay, look, I've got a dog who's half Labrador. I love Labradors. They're excellent dogs and I would trust any dog, but I'd particularly trust a Labrador. And Cody is a very good dog and he is trying his best to communicate to humans who are not listening. Jane's coming back. Let's hear what she says.
No, I know what. Jeff said the scent from the house is over here.
Right, so she knows what he's doing. Jeff said the scent from the house is in there.
All right, so I did include that bit. So we've got Cody actually knows what scent he's out for. A scent has been planted in here. Jeff rang Jane to tell her that that's where the scent was planted. All good stuff. Cody is on the job. All right, he's quite a young dog, so they probably do this for him maybe every time so that he stays motivated because he's quite a young dog. Anyway, they're off on the actual search now.
So Cody was absolutely right to alert at this spot.
Picking up the scent from the house. Oh, wow. Okay. Because I said, I don't know why you do this. She ran away.
So she says it's the only way to show that it works. It's to plant a scent for the dog to find. So he's found the planted scent. So let's bear that one in mind. They wander off.
And this is very good practice. I will say this is very good practice, especially for a young dog, to plant a scent, because dogs, when they go, because they're so excited, it's a game to them. So when they don't find anything, and if they're looking for a missing person, the chances are they're not going to find the person that they're looking for every single time, are they? And dogs do get depressed when they don't find anything. They start to lose confidence. They get anxious. So planting a scent and keeping the game going for a dog is a really good thing to do. So 10 out of 10 for doing that.
To do some actual searching now.
The house is over. They discovered that. Okay.
So he discovered that.
Backside here.
So I'm just pointing the map here, just to remind you where Chris spent 4 minutes. Chris spent 4 minutes here. So it will all become clear as to where we're heading, where Cody is leading us.
Is there another stream over there? There is.
Yep.
Let's go.
Right up there.
To the block 8. And Jeff and I both agree.
Yeah, we do. We have present Michelle speaking and past Michelle speaking. Are people confused? I've just looked at the chat. Yeah, it's confusing. This is me from 4 years ago, from March of 2021, doing a video about Cody the Labrador in the Chris Watts case. And then I'm responding to myself. So Michelle in the past is getting reviewed by Michelle in the present. How do you separate the screen? I can see both chats together on StreamYard, but it's going to be bizarre for you guys as viewers, because some people will be chatting in the landscape chat and some people will be chatting in the portrait chat, and it's just that the two can't be merged for you guys. It's stupid. I'm not going to do it again. I've given it a try, this dual streaming. I've given it a try. I'm not going to do it again. It's just too confusing for people. It's Michelle's version of A Christmas Carol's ghost. Yeah. The ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas present. So the ghost of Christmas future needs to come along next. My voice hasn't aged a bit. Well, I'm glad to hear it. My face probably has.
Yep. So note the red dumpsters. Now, when Chris confessed, I think that was at the Wisconsin confession, he said that he put his clothes and stuff, you know, the things that he didn't want people to find in a red dumpster on his way home from the worksite.
So Chris, when he did his big confession in February of 2019, so this is all going down in August of 2018, the day after this day, on the 15th of August, Chris did his polygraph, failed dismally, and then ended up confessing to killing Shanann. He lied about why he did it. So he said that Shanann was killing the girls and he got mad and then killed Shanann, but she'd already killed the girls by the time he got there. So he couldn't save them, so he killed her and then got rid of all their bodies. Okay, complete lie. It's very much like Brian Walsh. You know, like you find your wife killing your kids. So what do? Well, you hide your kids' bodies in oil tankers. Okay, all right. That's exactly what you do when you're a grieving father who's just found your kids that have been murdered. Of course, you take them to work and hide them in an oil tanker. Of course you do, Chris. Of course. Anyway, that was enough to arrest him. And then he pled guilty. So there was no trial, nothing. But in February of 2019, so a few months later, the cops that interviewed him, so there was Tammy Lee, Graham Corder, and then there was the detective from Weld County. I can't remember his name. Frederick PD guy, detective. I can't think of his name. It's a long time ago. Some of your old Watts people might remember the detective's name. But they all went to Wisconsin, to the prison. Chris is housed, and still is as far as I'm aware. He's housed at Dodge Correctional Facility in Wisconsin. They didn't think it was safe to keep him in prison in Colorado, so they shipped him off to Wisconsin. And they all went there, and Chris did this very candid confession. I've got it on my channel. If you want to go and hunt it out. The audio's horrible. There's like this, I don't know, buzzing going on. Like, I don't know. It's very, very bad, but it's audible. It's bad audio, but it's audible. And he said that, yes, he did stop before he got home. So his trip report was right. He did stop, and he put some items into one of the red dumpsters nearby at a construction area. But remember, this is August 14th. They don't know anything, right? They don't have the benefit of our hindsight. They don't know that Chris is going to plead guilty. They don't know that Chris is going to confess. So them on the ground are working, assuming that Shanann and the kids are missing. Just bear that in mind.
Before he went and met Coonrod and Nicole and Nicholas. So we see a street sign coming up here, so we'll get there in a minute.
Hi. Copy, are you at 3 point?
Right, so we can see this coming up. So what does that say? Black Mesa Road. So this is Black Mesa Road. So we are walking along here, and you can see there the clubhouse. So we're currently about here. So we've just crossed this street. So that's that one. So we're here. Clubhouse there. here.
Right.
Thereabouts. Not quite there yet, because that's that road up there.
All right, so we are here. Okay. And Chris's trip report said that he stopped for 4 minutes at an address further up this street, Black Mesa Road. Okay, so we're here. We've just crossed this street and we're here just about coming up to this street here.
Okay, so we've got our bearings, so we're here. And also bear in mind, ingrain this address or thereabouts into your brain. We are here, we are walking north up this with the clubhouse to our right. Okay, along Black Mesa or Mesa Road. Very soon, watch Cody. I'm going to move this out of the way so that you can see Cody's behaviour. Right now, he's got his nose to the ground. He's tracking. He knows his job. He'll track for a little bit and then he won't be able to find a scent on the road. So he'll put his nose up in the air and he'll sniff.
Okay, so he's basically searching for a scent at the moment. So he's putting his nose down to see if he can sniff something along the road. And then he's air scenting to see if he can get a direction of the scent on the wind. So, doing his job.
Okay, so he's getting excited and he's leading Jane.
So I think he's got a sniff of something because he starts to walk with purpose now. He's starting to get a little bit excited and he's walking with purpose. So he's probably smelt something on the wind, I would imagine.
He's leading Jane. He knows his job. So nose in the air, nose in the air. He's sniffing.
Yeah, he's air scenting. He's air scenting. And Jane's just wandering along, just ignoring her dog. All right, having a nice walk. And in a bit, she'll start chatting to Officer Lines. So Officer Lines is the person who's got the body cam. So we're watching Jane and Cody via Officer Lines' body cam.
Actually found something on the wind. Investigating. Locating. Sniffing again.
So every time he tries to find the direction on the wind, he gets a little bit more excited. So you can see him, he's like waving his head around. Cassie does it. You'll see Cassie, if you watch Cassie's videos, either on a YouTube channel or a TikTok, you'll see when she's trying to locate the direction of a scent, she waves her head in the air. And that's what Cody's doing.
I wish they'd just pay attention rather than talking about ticks and fleas, because Cody's very alert now. Pay attention.
Yeah. Sam, go ahead and send me that parking complaint. I'll get onto that. And you can change my zone to Chief.
And you'll also notice he's still air scenting, but you'll also notice that he tries, and you'll see it very, very clearly shortly, he tries to get through this fence, like this wire. He tries to get through. So he's still trying to ascertain a direction, but he's particularly interested in this area. And you'll see that very shortly. So going this direction.
Nose in the air. Now look where he's looking. Look what he starts to do. He starts to focus this direction. He starts to focus over here. What he's trying to do in a moment is to get through this fence. So he keeps going back to the fence. And look, he actually stops. He keeps stopping. And he's trying to find a way through the fence.
Now, Cassie, if this was Cassie, she'd have bulldozed her way through that fence. She probably would have just jumped the fence. Cody's a lot more polite. So he's trying to find a way through the fence. And Jane is completely ignoring him. If I was Jane I'd have said, I want to walk him on the opposite side of the road. Let's get through this fence and I want to walk him on the opposite side of the road. But no, she's just having a nice little stroll. And the dog's working. He also keeps going back to her as well. And then going back to this fence.
Officer Lines, move. So she says, when he stops, I stop. But he kept stopping and looking through the fence, through this wiring. Oh, dear. Cody's like, listen to me. Take me through the fence, please. So he stops, and then she says, go on. He keeps stopping, looking directly across. Now, I know that we've got the benefit of hindsight, haven't we? We know that Chris put his clothes or whatever into one of these dumpsters. And we know that he stopped up here, right? We're getting to the spot now because that's that other road that's across, almost directly across from the address.
We're nearly there. So it's either this dumpster or maybe there's one a little bit further along. But if you look at where we are on the map, we're coming up to this road here. So we're somewhere kind of here. So the closer we get to this address where Chris stopped for 4 minutes, the more excited, alert Cody gets. And the more insistent he is to go through the fence. Would this be bad for the dog, not being reinforced? It is actually. It is actually, yes. It is bad for the dog. That he's going to feel disappointed and ignored. Whether it would affect his performance in future searches, maybe not if that just happened the one time. But if Jane regularly ignores him, then that would eventually start to affect his confidence, his performance, and he'd get confused. He wouldn't know what he was meant to be doing because he'd be thinking, well, they give me a scent, I find the scent, and then they just walk off and they ignore me. So it will affect his performance if this keeps being continued. Let's just hope this is a one-off and it doesn't happen every time Cody goes on a search, especially with him being a young dog. You know, it's not good for his confidence, not good for his future training.
That Google gives me. So it's either this dumpster or this dumpster, and he keeps stopping, looking, and he's now starting to alert. She tells him to go on.
If he was a pointer, he'd be pointing right now. You know, the pointers that kind of freeze. When they find the scent, they freeze and put one leg in the air. It's kind of strange to watch. If you've ever watched a pointer working.
And he can't get through the fence.
Look at him.
Look at him there. He's intently looking. He's stopping. He's signalling.
And he's panting as well. Like he's like having a little bit of a stress response. His tail's down. His tail's not tucked, so he's not scared. But he's confused. He's like, I'm a bit stressed. I know my scent's over there, and I can't get through this fence. Cassie would have been over it. Cassie would have been over the fence. She'd have dragged me over the fence. Cassie doesn't take no for an answer. But this dog is very polite. And he knows where that scent is. And he's right opposite the dumpster now, where Chris put the items. I think it was the clothes that he was wearing. I can't remember now what he said in the Wisconsin confession. I think it was the blankets that Bella and Cece took with them. Because remember, he took Bella and Cece alive to Survey 319. So they had blankets with them. I think there was a toy or something that one of them took, and Chris's clothes that he was wearing, and he put them in a dumpster. And this dog, Cody, he's been scented on Bella and Cece's shoes. So the fact that there would be blankets from Bella and Cece, which would have strong scent on them. Chris's clothes would have the scent of Bella and Cece on, because he was wearing those clothes when he killed them. And they're all in a dumpster, which is an enclosed space. So you've got these items in this dumpster, and that scent can't go anywhere except upwards. So that scent, if you could visualize that scent, it would be like pouring out of the top of this dumpster. So it'd be really, really strong to Cody, and inviting him over. And the poor thing can't get through the fence, and the humans are ignoring him. And he just stops and he waits. And he's confused, he's stressed, because he knows he needs to be over there, but he can't get there. So he thinks he's doing it wrong. Look at him. Bless him.
And telling her. And she says, what? And then he's like, oh, well, whatever. And
so he's gone past it. He's gone past it. They've ignored him. So he wanders off. And then they follow him, thinking, oh, he's going in this direction. They all follow him. What he's been doing, though, for the last, 50 yards, is trying to get through this fence. And everybody's ignoring him.
Wanders off. And then she follows him. And she follows him because they then go investigating something in the field. And Officer Lines ends up walking all the way up to the end of the road here, where the fence kind of ends. And then she wanders off to follow Jane. Now, Jane spots something and thinks that, well, we'll go over this way. Doesn't matter that Cody's looking through the fence to get to the opposite side. But no, she told him to go on. What's the point in sending a dog out to trail a scent when you're not going to listen to them? This is another example of humans thinking they know better and dogs actually knowing it all.
There you go. Perfect ending. Now, why is this important? Why is this important for us to think about in cases that we're following, or if you're a handler or you're part of a team? So maybe you're not a dog handler, but maybe you go out with, search and rescue parties. Maybe you'd be one of they're called spotters, people who kind of go along with the handler to do things like, just to be an extra observer, to be looking around, to be observing the terrain, looking for potential obstacles, all sorts of things, right? And just as a casual observer watching this, and it is a rare opportunity for us to actually watch a dog search in action. Again, this case is the gift that keeps on giving because of all of this content that we've got. We so very rarely get this. So think about the cases that I've covered in the last month. Summer Wells, Lily and Jack, Sebastian Rogers, all dog searches. I know some of the Sebastian Rogers dog searches have been caught on surveillance cameras. Some of it we've seen. SF Investigators has released some bits of it. Some of it we haven't seen, and some of it just won't have been caught on cameras. It's just, where particular neighbours have cameras. It's caught maybe a few minutes of a dog search. And it's important for us to remember when it looks like we hear, like let's say we hear from the media or from a searcher that a dog team didn't find anything. Well, how many cases are there where the dog found something and the humans completely ignored them? Because we've seen it in this case in front of our eyes. And they were so lucky in this case that Chris was a coward and he basically pled out. They were so lucky because they missed so many clues. If they'd have listened to Cody, and led him across the other side of the road, he would have found items pertaining to Bella and Cece in that dumpster, like the blankets that they had when they were murdered. So there may be evidence on them, there might be bodily fluids on them, Chris's clothes that he was wearing when he murdered them. Again, there may be evidence on those clothes. They could have arrested Chris that very day. Because if they'd found the clothes and blankets from Bella and Cece in that dumpster, Chris would have a whole lot of explaining to do. Because why would Chris's clothes and toys and blankets from Bella and Cece be in a dumpster at a construction site when supposedly the story that Chris is telling the cops is that Shanann and Bella and Cece were at a play date? They could have arrested him that day if that dog search had been successful. And that dog knew exactly his job, and the handlers ignored him. So they are jolly lucky that Chris was a coward and pled out. They are very, very lucky. This is just one example of how bad this investigation was in this case. It was a tragedy, the fact that a pregnant woman and 2 little children were murdered. But it's an additional tragedy about how bad this investigation was. But I just want to thank Weld County Sheriff's Office for being open and giving us this gift of 50 gigabytes worth of information of a completely bad investigation. They could have hidden all this. Maybe they didn't realise. Maybe they didn't realise that people like me would come along and analyse it and match up the trip report with the map with this particular dog search and show that here is a dog that knew his job, and they could have had Chris that day within 24 hours of Shanann, Bella and Cece being reported missing. They could have had Chris in handcuffs. They were so lucky he pled out. He could have got away with it. I would say that if Chris had kept his nerve and pled not guilty, I think there's a chance he could have got away with it. Now, I think honestly, the location of the bodies, I think Bella and Cece probably would have been found in those oil tankers. But maybe not. I mean, who would think that a dad, a loving father, would squeeze his 4-year-old and 3-year-old through a hatch at the top of these huge oil tankers, which had a diameter of about 8 inches. He squoze them through and drop them into an oil tanker. Who would imagine that a monster would do that to his own children? Who would imagine that? And then Shanann and baby Nico were buried in a shallow grave in a field. So maybe they wouldn't have been found. Maybe they wouldn't have been found because on Chris's trip report, he went to his job site. He went to the job site that he was meant to be working at that day. So he didn't do anything strange, except he stopped for 4 minutes when he was on his way home. And if Cody had been listened to, they would have had the items that Chris put in the dumpster. And then once the trip report came through, they'd have said, you stopped here for 4 minutes in this place where a dog alerted on the clothes and your daughter's blankets. Explain that. But I think there's a chance he could have got away with it. There's a chance if it had gone to trial and gone to a jury, there's a chance he could have got away with it because this investigation was so very poor. Incredibly poor. They were just lucky. They were lucky. All right. So bear it in mind when we talk about dog searches in cases. Bear this case in mind and think, well, dogs didn't find anything, but how good were the handlers is the question that you've always got to ask yourself. How good were the handlers? All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there because in 5 minutes' time over on Michelle Walks is episode 13 of Cold Case Christmas. So go and check that out. I haven't put it on a redirect, like I did in the members live. I put it on a redirect and it sent us over. Was it the members live that did that? Anyway, I've not done it in this case. I've not done it in this video. So you're going to have to take yourself over to Michelle Walks in 4 minutes, and episode 13 will come out. What's the case going to be? I know what the case is going to be, so you can find out very shortly. And yeah, I'll see you then. I'll see you there, hopefully. Thank you so much, Penguin. I missed that. Thank you. This is the problem of having 2 chats and not watching StreamYard because I'm watching the screen. Thank you so much, Penguin, for the $10. After 9/11, the dog searching the pile got despondent after 2 days and finding no survivors. A fireman then hid in the rubble so he could be found every day. Dogs were happy searching. Yes, exactly. That's a perfect example. Perfect example that you have to keep the dog playing the game. And if the dog is continually not finding stuff because there's nothing to find, then you've got to engineer something to keep them happy, to keep them playing. But thank you so much. And I'm sorry I missed that. But yeah, thank you all for joining me. Hope this was informative and interesting for those who are interested in dog searches, who haven't maybe seen this before. Go and check out my other videos on the Chris Watts case. I've got loads of them, but you have to scroll right back to the beginning of the channel. But I've got loads of videos about Chris Watts that are still on the channel. So thank you, as always, to the mods. And I'm not going to be doing this dual streaming 2-chat thing in future. It's just too confusing for you all. So live streams are just going to be landscape only in future. So I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy episode 13 of Cold Case Christmas. Bye, guys.